When Midjourney announced their video feature was dropping, I was pumped as hell. Midjourney's already been the absolute king of AI images, so I had sky-high expectations. But I was also kinda nervous, like, could it compete with the current powerhouses like Runway or Kling AI? Well, Midjourney didn't let me down. King stays king. Today, I'm gonna break down everything you need to know about Midjourney Video. We're talking features, limitations, jaw-dropping results, and a face-off with what everyone calls the best AI video tool on the market. Trust me, you're gonna wanna stick around for this one, because what I'm about to show you is absolutely nuts. Getting started, it's easier than you think. If you already have a Midjourney subscription, congratulations. You've got access to the video feature right now. No extra fees, no upselling, no premium tier nonsense. It's just there, which blew my mind because we're living in the age of subscription inception where every feature comes with its own monthly fee. The setup process couldn't be simpler. You open up any image you've generated in Midjourney, and if you've been using this thing for years like I have, you've got plenty to choose from. I scrolled through thousands of my old generations just to see what would happen. You can also upload your own image if you're feeling fancy. Down in the bottom right corner, you'll see 4 animation options. 2 main approaches await you: auto mode and manual mode. Auto mode is like having a really smart assistant who looks at your image, reads the original prompt you used, and says, "Yeah, I got this." It figures out how to animate your image based on what it sees and what you originally asked for. I tested this with everything from portraits to landscapes, and it's surprisingly good at interpreting what should move and how. Manual mode, that's where you take the wheel. You type in a new prompt to control how you want that animation to move. Want your dragon to breathe fire? Tell it. Want your character to start dancing? Go for it. This is where you can get really creative and push the boundaries. The prompt adherence in manual mode is surprisingly sophisticated. I tested this extensively with specific movement directions like camera slowly zooms in. The accuracy was impressive. Not perfect, but way better than I expected. I've developed a workflow that saves hours. Start with auto mode to see what Midjourney thinks should happen naturally. Then use manual mode to extend so you can refine specific elements. It's like having a conversation with the AI. You see its interpretation, then guide it toward your vision. Within each mode, you've got 2 motion settings: low motion and high motion. Don't let low motion fool you into thinking it's boring. This thing can still be incredibly dynamic while keeping everything consistent and smooth. I've seen low motion settings create subtle movements that feel natural and believable. High motion cranks up the energy, but it can get a little wild. More warping, more distortion, more "did that character just turn into a pretzel?" moments. I usually stick with low motion unless I'm going for something chaotic, like a fight scene or one of those shaky cam action sequences that make you feel like you're watching a Michael Bay movie. But sometimes that high motion chaos is exactly what you want for certain artistic effects. The motion settings also interact with different image types in interesting ways. Portraits tend to work better with low motion. You get natural eye movement, subtle expressions, maybe a gentle head turn. Landscapes and abstract images can handle high motion better because warping and distortion actually add to the artistic effect. Interface that actually makes sense. Now that you know the basics, let's talk about something that doesn't get enough credit: the interface. The organizational system is impressive. You can heart generations you like and filter to show only your favorites later. You can create folders and keep track of everything without losing your mind. I've got folders for different projects, style experiments, character studies. It's like having a proper video library. The search functionality is also surprisingly robust. You can search by prompt keywords. When you've got hundreds of videos, being able to quickly find that one clip is invaluable. But what sets the interface apart is how it handles video comparison and review. My favorite feature is the ability to scrub through all 4 versions simultaneously. On Mac, you hold Command and drag your mouse and all 4 videos scrub in perfect sync. Sounds small, but when you're comparing subtle differences across multiple 20-second clips, it's the difference between productivity and madness. This becomes crucial when you're working with extensions because each version can evolve differently. Maybe version A has better character consistency, but version C has more interesting camera movement. Being able to compare them side by side in real time is huge. The interface handles this 4-generation preview system brilliantly. Each version is clearly labeled, easy to compare, and you can quickly jump between them without losing your place. It's the kind of thoughtful design that makes the difference between a tool you use once and a tool you integrate into your daily workflow. The speed that'll make your head spin. Have you noticed it from my previous demonstration? This thing is fast, like stupid fast. While other tools have you waiting 5, 10, sometimes 15 minutes for a single generation, Midjourney spits out 4 variations in seconds. Okay, it's actually a couple minutes, but compared to the competition, it might as well be instant. The previews come out at 480p, which sounds terrible until you realize you can export the final version in full 1080p. And I've got a pro tip that'll save you some headaches. When you're downloading, hit the download video for social media button, not the download raw video button. That raw video button is like ordering a burger and getting just the patty. Technically what you asked for, but missing all the good stuff. The speed advantage becomes even more apparent when you're iterating. You know how it goes. You get an idea, generate it, realize you want to tweak something, generate again, maybe adjust the prompt, generate once more. With most tools, this process takes hours. With Midjourney, you can go through dozens of iterations in the time it takes other platforms to give you one result. The Extend feature, pure magic in action. Picture this. You generate a 5-second clip, but the action isn't even completed when the video ends. Frustrating, right? With most video generators, you're stuck with what you get. But Midjourney, you just hit extend and boom, it adds another 4 seconds, seamlessly continuing the motion. You can keep extending up to 21 seconds total. What blew my mind? The transitions are actually smooth, like genuinely smooth. I've tried similar features on other platforms, and they usually look like someone took a pair of scissors to your video and taped the pieces back together with duct tape. I tested this with a complex scene, a dragon breathing fire into a cup, then a woman taking a sip and smiling. That's a lot to ask for in one short clip, so I broke it into segments. First extension, dragon breathes fire, steam rises. Second extension, woman takes a sip and smiles. Third extension, and this is where I got greedy. I had her give the dragon a little kiss on the cheek. Did it work perfectly? Almost. Was it absolutely incredible that it worked at all? You bet. I've been trying to get other video generators to handle sequences like this for months, and most of them fail at far simpler tasks. Comprehensive testing, the good, the bad, and the weird. Time for the fun part. I put this thing through its paces with every test I could think of, and some of the results genuinely surprised me. Hands and fine motor control, the eternal AI nemesis. I tested piano playing, guitar strumming, even someone knitting. The piano test worked really well. Fingers moving in believable patterns, proper hand positioning. Guitar actually went smoothly too, even with both low and high motion settings. That surprised me because high motion is less stable and hand movements are incredibly complex. Knitting was a disaster, but I didn't expect that to work anyway. Facial expressions and emotions. Midjourney needs some improvement in this department. I tested everything from subtle micro expressions to over-the-top emotional displays. First, I went for someone going from neutral to surprised and got one decent result. The rest were kind of glitchy or too extreme. Okay, maybe I was being too detailed in my prompt. So I tried again with a group of friends in Pixar style breaking into laughter and a simpler prompt. This time, the timing and authenticity were impressive. I even tested emotional transitions, having someone go from happy to sad to angry within a single clip. This was trickier, especially when the starting expression was strongly set in one direction. The AI struggled with dramatic emotional pivots, which makes sense when you think about it. Cramming that much emotional change into just 5 seconds while starting with such a defined expression is asking a lot. I even tried extending the clip to give it more time, but the results were still awkward. Graphic and typography. Something cool that I didn't expect. If your starting image has a tattoo, a sign, or even a book page, and that text is clearly visible, it stays remarkably consistent throughout the animation. I tested this with an image of a man with a fearless tattoo on his chest. As he moved, the tattoo maintained the same text perfectly. However, don't expect it to generate new text during the animation. I tried having someone write on a piece of paper, and while the writing motion looked natural, the actual letters that appeared were complete gibberish. Complex action sequences. I went full action movie with these tests. Fight scenes with swords. The swordplay looked great, but something still felt off. Like, why did our swordsman suddenly sprout a second sword out of nowhere? I also tested a chase scene and shootouts. The chase scene was absolutely insane. I prompted a high-stakes chase scene through a narrow city alleyway. A determined man in a dark hoodie runs at full speed, glancing over his shoulder, while two pursuers follow closely behind. And Midjourney delivered exactly what I asked for. The cause and effect relationships were flawless. The shootout scene was decent, but not quite there yet. Character movements looked cool, but the gunfire effects felt weird, like someone ripped them straight out of a PlayStation 2 game instead of making them look like an actual gunfight. Precise technical movements. Current AI video shows its limitations when precision matters. I tested domino chains. Guess what? Almost universally failed. The AI can handle broad movements and general actions, but when precision and exact timing matter, it struggles. Basketball shots were particularly interesting. The shooting motion looked great, but the ball's trajectory and interaction with the hoop was unpredictable at best. Environmental effects. Weather and environmental animation worked surprisingly well. Rain falling looked natural. Wind effects on clothing and hair were convincing. Even fire and smoke had good movement quality. Style flexibility, the real MVP. If there's one area where Midjourney absolutely demolishes the competition, it's style flexibility. This thing handles any visual style you can imagine. Midjourney has always been the king of aesthetics in the image world. They've been consistently ahead of everyone else when it comes to style and beauty, and they've carried that same strength into video. Whether you want something polished and cinematic or weird and experimental, it can handle it. I threw some of my most abstract and surreal images at it, stuff that would make other video generators have an existential crisis, and Midjourney just rolled with it. The anime-style results were particularly impressive. Character animation with proper anime movement principles, exaggerated expressions that felt authentic to the style, even background elements that maintained that distinctive anime aesthetic. I tested everything from Studio Ghibli-inspired landscapes to modern anime character designs. 3D animation styles worked well too, though with some limitations. Simple 3D character movements translated beautifully, but complex 3D interactions still showed the underlying physics challenges. Upload your own images, the personal touch. One feature I love is the ability to upload your own photos. I tested this with a picture of my cat. Midjourney gives me solid character consistency throughout the animation, natural movement, and it actually looked like the cat I uploaded. The process is dead simple. Drag your image to the starting frame box, type your prompt like "the cat plays with the flowers," adjust your motion settings, and let it rip. Kling versus Midjourney, the real showdown. For the final part of this deep dive, I want to discuss about how Midjourney stacks up against the competition. I've been using Kling for months now. It was pretty much the only decent option that didn't cost me a kidney. So when Midjourney dropped their video feature, I knew I had to put these two head to head. Each model has its own strengths and weaknesses, and depending on what you're trying to create, you might want different tools for different jobs. Kling is solid across the board. It's got decent pricing, a whole host of features, and can handle most tasks reasonably well. It's the Swiss Army knife of AI video. Good at everything, master of none. For creators who want one tool that can do it all without breaking the bank, Kling makes sense. But when it comes to pure cinematic quality and realistic movement, Midjourney absolutely demolishes everything else. I tested the same image in both platforms, and the difference was night and day. In Kling, I got decent motion. The subject was emerging from the ground, everything looked functional, but it just lacked that cinematic wow factor. It does the job well enough, but doesn't really excel at anything special. You know what I mean? It's like getting a solid B+ when you were hoping for that A+ that makes you go, damn, that's impressive. In Midjourney, two things stood out immediately. First, the camera movement was way more dynamic and cinematic. Second, every tiny movement was just perfect, like the way a character's head turns or those subtle facial shifts that most AI tools completely butcher. These nuanced details make all the difference. This attention to detail is something I've noticed across all my testing. Midjourney excels in three key areas: dynamic camera motion, subtle movement precision, and overall cinematic flow. While Kling might might give you more features and options, Midjourney gives you that premium professional look that actually feels like real cinematography. Also, remember that incredible style flexibility we talked about earlier? Yeah, Kling can't touch that. While Kling does okay with realistic content, throw some cartoon-style characters or abstract art at it, and it starts to sweat. When it comes to non-realistic styles, Midjourney doesn't just win, it's playing a completely different game. If you want reliable, feature-rich video generation that won't blow your budget, Kling's your friend. But if you want jaw-dropping cinematic quality that makes people question whether it's AI at all, Midjourney is in a league of its own. I've shown you the basics, but there's so much weird stuff I couldn't fit in this video. Trust me, once you start experimenting with this thing, you'll understand why I've been losing sleep over it. Go mess around with it yourself. I guarantee you'll discover something I missed. Want to try these amazing AI yourself? All links and resources are awaiting you in the description. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.